Hello and welcome to the ReLaunch LoveFlick Show. I'm your host, Hilary DeCesare. We created the LoveFlick Show to share secrets from ladies who have relaunched themselves in life, business, and love. This is for the busy, successful woman who wants to know what she must know, but doesn't have the time to go figure it out. I will be interviewing daily experts that are top in the industry. And each day in your inbox, we're going to bring you content not to be missed and key tips to get you on your path to relaunching fast. The LoveFlick Show is a binge-style 2-week expert series. Each show is informative and actionable. Our philosophy at ReLaunch Love is if you can't use it right away, then it's useless. So start using the great tips and advice now. So today I am excited to introduce you to Cheryl Besner. After she had her divorce, Cheryl leaped into the HR industry, heart relations. First came her blog, 365 Days to Find Love, all about flying solo at 50, with her overall mission being to dispel all those rumors that life and love was now over. She's an IDC certified coach. Her Solo in the City radio show was a huge success, taking the #1 spot on Saturday nights. Sheryl will soon be expanding her reach as she joins Voice America with her new show, Make Love Happen. Recently, she's had a featured series on the morning show. In addition, she has Get Up to Date on Life retreats. Sheryl is founder of Body Talk Yoga Dance and is going to be, drumroll, releasing her first book, The Dance of Love and Relationships, and how to not trip over your own 2 feet or step on someone's toes. Well, it could go on and on and on and on. Cheryl, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a great thing that I don't sleep very much.
As I was reading all about your background and the things that you've done, what really triggered this was your divorce.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I find for a lot of people. You know, you find your passion and your purpose sometimes through the things that happen in your own life. And everything has actually come full circle for me. So even, for instance, Dance of Love, which, by the way, the radio show is going to be called Dance of Love in the end. It was just decided today. It's going back to my first roots, and I was a professional dancer at 18 years old, and that was my first business. I owned my own dance school. So I've incorporated everything, every aspect of my 50 some odd years of life into what I do now, from event planning to dancing to certification to my divorce.
Well, it's pretty incredible, and as you keep telling us more and more, dance schools, and I mean, there's so much wealth of knowledge that comes with a lifetime, right? And all of a sudden you were divorced, you're now over 50. I'm turning 50 in a week. I mean, I get this. And so I happened to get my divorce when I was late 30s and felt kind of like, well, wait a second, this is sooner than anybody else. I don't know what to do. Online dating was something of it was this crazy thing out there. Couldn't, even understand how have things changed so much. So what I would love to ask you is, when you have, knowing our audience out there are these fabulous over 45-year-old women that are relaunching their
ladies.
relaunching their life in, whether it's an area of their life, whether it's business or love, what do you constantly hear out there that's just, it seems to just be brought up every time you talk to women in this age category? What are they concerned with?
Well, I think they're concerned with the fact that, #1, the myth is that there's no good men out there. Mm-hmm. And that's a myth. First of all, there's one man for every woman that gets divorced. The only difference is, so it's 50-50. If you divorce your husband, he's out there, you're out there. The difference is that the gentlemen do sometimes play in a larger field when it comes to age that they'll date. But the fact is this, if you look at most couples, not in their dating stage, because yes, maybe men are dating younger, by the way, so are women these days. And if you look at the long-term ratio, the men usually end up with somebody closer to their own age. It's a phase, you know, it's almost like a rite of passage.
I want people to really hear that. So what you're...
Well, I think it's important. And the women are doing the same thing, by the way. They are exploring younger men as well. And they're just having fun. So the fact is they do exist. What the gentlemen don't want, and I hate to sound very direct about this, is what they're really looking for is not an age, it's a youthfulness, it's a playfulness, it's somebody who wants to have fun. And often the women that I meet who are, successful, and that means whatever is successful to you. It doesn't mean, I'm not talking about earning a certain dollar. I mean, successful meaning you have a full life. There's a lot going on in your world. You have friends, you travel if you like to travel, you experience things. They like, along with that, somebody who brings the smile. Okay, so the men are looking for somebody, they actually do want somebody who has all this success of life behind them, and they like being with the it girl. What they don't want is to feel, which often happens, is that we're interrogating them. What do you have? Where do you come from? What's it going to be like if we got together? And the more successful women are, they tend to think, well, I don't really need a man. I want somebody in my life, but I don't need somebody. And that's another statement that in reverse, the men are saying, they want a woman who needs them.
So Sheryl, you hit on some really interesting pieces here. First off, the comment about that they want somebody ultimately, that they end up with somebody ultimately that's in their same age, group or rough. Funny little side story here. When I met Eric, and I met him when I was 45 years old, he literally said, you're the oldest woman I've dated. I thought, seriously? He had been dating these younger women.
Right.
But yet he ended up with me, this older woman, which I think is great. Now, why do you think what they date, they may be dating these younger women, but they end up wanting to marry somebody that's closer to their age group?
So that's where I go age versus stage. So stage has a lot to do with things as to where you are in your life. So you have a man who, for instance, is in his 60s. He could be dating somebody in their 30s, even their early 40s. But what tends to happen is this. He's starting to have more free time. He's got trips he might want to do. He wants to experience weekends as a couple more. Well, he's worked his whole life, no matter what it is. That's what 60s are about. Some people start thinking about retirement. Well, in your 40s, chances are you still have a teenager at home. And in this day and age, most people have somebody younger than a teenager, because a lot of women are having their babies, in like their mid-30s. So in their mid-40s, chances are a teenager, 10-year-old, maybe 8-year-old, maybe even younger. I had a baby at 41. So I'm 58 years old. I'm dating somebody 61. Guess what? We're not necessarily at exactly the same stage, because that's empty nester. I have responsibility. So that's where stage of life also plays a big part, because as you get older, your stages are there. And the other thing is commonality. So what does a 60-year-old person have in common with a 30-year-old person? You can go out and you can have fun and you can
we can sit here and say that. We can say that because we understand it. What do they have in common? But they're still dating those younger women.
Yes, but what are they dating for? So that's what I'm saying. You can go out and you can have a lot of fun and enjoy well, first of all, enjoy the physicalness of a younger person. And I will tell you a quick sidebar story is I was in Las Vegas a few years ago, and I was at one of the big hotels at their European pool, and there was a group of men all in their 60s and offered me to utilize one of their pods because I just had a chair, because you had to be 8 people or just spend the money. And I chose not to, and they saw that. So they offered me one of their pods very graciously. And we would talk all day, and they would come in and out and do Sudoku with me and have all these fascinating philosophical conversations. They loved what I did. And they would invite me out for dinner, which I never accepted, but all day long, they were frolicking in the pool with the younger women.
Right.
And disappearing with them and coming back. And then spending all their time talking to me. And I said, what is it? Like, you are disappearing with these younger women, yet you're not inviting them to dinner. And they said, you have to understand, this one gentleman said, when I'm with this younger woman, that's how I see myself. I don't see myself as the mature gentleman that I am. I see myself as the 30-year-old or the 25-year-old. Mm-hmm. And there is something in our brain when we're not standing in front of a mirror. I mean, how many times just in general do you, Hilary, or myself, I'm walking around, I'm in a great mood that day, and life feels like I did, I'm reliving something when I was 18. I don't see myself as somebody who's about to turn 60. Sexy 60s, I will put in there. So we don't see that until we get in the mirror. And then there's times where I walk by the mirror and I go, wow, hi, Ma. So that's what's being triggered sometimes. But when it comes down to it, the conversation, and I am generalizing, but in the end, the commonality is what makes those men and women choose somebody more age appropriate, because you've lived the same history.
I get it. But reality now for these women that are listening to this is, that's great, Sheryl. I want a guy that's close to my age, but he's not interested in meeting me. So what do you say to people? And I get the smile, I get the energy, but there seems to be, they want to find these guys that potentially they could have these amazing relationships with, but they're not having an opportunity to step up to bat.
Well, I think that there's a lot of missed opportunities that people are leaving out there on the table. So I can tell you that there are definite steps that each woman can take. And most of the women that I work with, whether it's at one of my retreats or mini retreats or one-on-ones, that are saying exactly what you are, within a very short period of time, through going through my process, life starts to change. And most of the time it's because the women are staying in their box. They're stuck in within a 5-block radius of where they live and doing the same things that they do. And it's about starting to explore and exploring the things that you want. The men are out there. And at the same time, one of the things, you're saying smile and energy. I can tell you that I see a lot of single women out there, and they don't put out that positive energy. They might sometimes, they're going to a specific place where they think they might meet the person. Oh, we're going to this restaurant. I like this kind of place. I bet you a man that I would want is in there. Yeah, but he also might be on the street corner before you get into the restaurant. So, it's part of one of the things that I do with my clients is about, personal branding and personal energy. Think of yourself, and I put it straight out there. You are a product. And you want that product to be successful in the marketplace. So what do you do for that product? And think about it. You wouldn't put, if it was a can of food, let's say, you wouldn't put the one that has the label on the front. You put the perfect one on the front. So when you leave that house to do anything, I don't care what it is, And it doesn't mean to go to the grocery store, you need a full face of makeup, but be proud of who you are. Go with that smile, go with that energy. I meet people all the time, everywhere I go. And then it's about meeting somebody, making that eye contact and going for it. Like, don't sit back and wait for life to happen.
So I love the steps. And you're saying step one is get out of your box. Stop being in this one little radius. Start trying new things. Get out there. But it's not just getting out there. It's step two. It's how you're presenting yourself. I agree. There was a wonderful client of ours who, when she wasn't being on, and she had this on and off switch, she's either on and she's going into this room and she's just, I'm on, or she's off. And the off had that resting bitch face, right?
Right.
And she would, you know, and I said to her, she was sitting there looking at me. I quickly grabbed my camera. I took a picture of her. She's like, what are you doing? I wasn't even smiling. I'm like, no, look at how you're natural, like what you're doing. You've got to be thinking about anywhere, any place. I love what you're saying about the product of you. You are the product of you.
And you have to create that brand. What is going to make you, so I have a program, and one of the coaching things that I do with my clients is how to become your own matchmaker. And it's taking people from A to Z, what a matchmaker does for their clients, from understanding your lifestyle values and goals and knowing exactly what they are. So you don't go into something and say, well, you know what, I just want a relationship where we live apart but together. And then you start dating somebody who wants that, and then you go, oh, you know what, I want to get married. You may not get what you want. So really understanding your lifestyle values and goals, not depending on who I meet. No, what are they? Who are you? Be you first, then be in a relationship. It's me before we, right? So that's step one. Number two is definitely branding. You brand yourself, just like you are the most important thing. Who are you and what do you want to put out there? And people do see a face first. They see how you present yourself. And like it or not, the world at large has judgment. We should not operate from judgment, but we are. So coming out there, you know, on a date or in public, really, how do you want to do that? Because you never know. On my first blog, 365 Days to Find Love, where this whole thing started, I wrote planes, trains, and automobiles. And in 1 week, I met somebody in each one of these locations, you know, car wash, train station, or on a train. But it was endless because that was my purpose. I wanted to understand the dating world and meet somebody. I mean, at that time, I realized I wanted to do other things and really find out and define my lifestyle values and goals. And the other part is really, people think that when I say think out of the box, that it means, you know, learning to skydive. Well, if that's something you want to do, great. But what I'm talking about is, and the first thing I do with all my clients, and even at my retreats, I'll have people sit down and just start writing out what they do every day. It doesn't mean give all that up and make a whole new life. I'm saying the minute you do that and I start poking a few questions, they realize, oh, I don't really take the opportunity of that. And I walk by this store every day and I never think of going in there for a coffee. I make my coffee at home. But it's a coffee shop, and they see a coffee shop, you know, especially like in Europe, places like that. This is like a #1 meeting place. Don't make your coffee at home. Stop in there, talk to people.
I like that. Not just, it's not thinking out of the box. It's taking what you already are doing and expanding on it. That is a great example of like, what are you missing that's in your present world right now?
Yeah. Women, you go to the gym. Stop taking the gym class. Start weight training. That's where the men are. They're not in your aerobics class. They're in the gym. And if you go in the morning, go once a week or twice a week at 6 o'clock at night. Like, it's taking what you're already doing and switching it up. Just doing that ignites change. And that's what we're looking for. Little steps, little things, and then we expand on it and expand on it. And using, you know, the internet and things like that are very important.
so we're going to go into the internet, but I want to talk about these steps to becoming your best matchmaker. We talked about, me before we, and
Right.
then,
So lifestyles, values, and goals is number one.
okay.
Number two is the branding. So,
and what else?
number three is profiling and putting yourself online and how to stand out. And really, you see, the one thing is, I believe a lot of women say, well, I'm very confident. And most women that I meet, especially 40 and up, they are pretty confident.
We've lived.
They're not competent. I hate to tell you this, ladies, but if you haven't dated in 10 years or 20 years, you are not competent necessarily in today's dating world. So, and it's not an insult. It's anything you want to learn in life. If you've never learned how to cook a hollandaise sauce, you have to learn how to do it. Same thing here. I had to learn how to use the internet, make a profile work, how to set my boundaries as far as doing it, how it works. So there are definite steps in having your profile pop out amongst all the rest. And even understanding, I'll give you a little hint right now for all you ladies who are online. Update one aspect of your profile at least, if not more, every 2 weeks. It puts you back on top. It's a refresh. Change your picture, change something within your profile, description. Every time you make a change, you get thrown back to the top.
Ooh, what a great tip.
Yeah, little tip. Like to give out those tips.
That's a good one. That is a definitely good one. Okay. So,
and the last part is vetting. Know how to vet. And it's a very technical word. It's weeding things out. Get to the heart of the matter as fast as you can. There are going to be a lot of potential people. Who do you want to meet? And siphon through that very quickly. And you vet by going back to the beginning. Lifestyles, values, and goals.
And when you're doing that, don't waste time on potential suitors that you're just truly, there's not a match in that. Especially.
Right. Because exactly. Like, oh, well, maybe. No. Get to what you want. Learn. No, oh, he's really cute. No, he's still in school, or he's gone back to school and you're ready to retire and start traveling. So no, I mean, again, lifestyle, values, and goals. Those are the three things that any matchmaker or coach will walk you back to constantly. Keep you on track.
So let's talk a little bit more about online dating. There is a huge fear amongst women that the last time they were dating in the dating world, they were in their 20s or they were in their 30s, and now they're coming out to this brave new world of online. Mm-hmm. What do you suggest they do? How can they get comfortable with this style of dating?
Well, I think to look at online dating as your friend who wants to set you up on a blind date. Okay? And the reason I say your friend is because even friends are not necessarily the best matchmakers. I cannot tell you how many times when I was first single that somebody I remember one gentleman said to me, I want to introduce you to somebody. Are you ready to date? And I went, yeah. And he goes, okay, I have somebody to introduce you to. And I said, great. And he knew me 10 years. And I was like, well, what do we have in common? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, what do we have in common? And he says, well, you're both single. I was like, guess what? Like, there's a lot of single people out there. If I filled my day meeting all these, we're both single. And they couldn't understand. So often friends will just introduce you to the newest available man or the guy who has been out there forever.
Totally.
So treat it as your friend. Okay? And then get moving faster. People are afraid of the internet. How many times though, years and years ago, did you meet somebody on the street and they invited you out and you made a date and you went and met for a coffee, or you went and met, for a walk, or you went for dinner or a movie? You took a chance. the beauty is that we do have the internet available to us where we can do some snooping around, with this casual rencontre that we just met. And we can find out a little bit more information from the time we say yes to the time we go meet them. So here's what I say is my steps to good online dating. Great profile. I help people write them all the time to make them sing and make sure you pop. Then communication goes like this. Hi, I'm interested. I'm shortening it. Oh, me too. Great. Let's Skype. Let's FaceTime. Get to the point where you actually, first of all, see each other, because we're not entering this for a pen pal. If you start pen paling with everybody you're meeting online, so if his profile looks like your, the profile you want, get the connection to have a talk as fast as you can, not 3.5 weeks. Hey, why don't we discuss this? Okay. And I like people to go to FaceTime or Skype as quickly as possible.
I think it sounds fantastic. It also ties nicely in line with, you've already looked at what kind of lifestyle they have because you can see that on their profile. You already know the values based on what they're saying. And so the goal is get off of the app, get onto Skype, FaceTime, and then get onto that first date if that's the next step.
So the goal in getting onto Skype and FaceTime eliminates a big aspect that people are afraid of, and that's being Pinocchioed. Okay, so the Facebook, FaceTiming or Skype, I know who you are, Hilary. You can't escape me here. And that few minutes of talking with each other, vis-a-vis seeing each other, you see body language, you see that they are the person that they say they are. So there's no disappointment when you now and then go to the next level. Great, you know what? And make it short and sweet. Then you can have another follow-up conversation, but get to the date. Why don't we meet for a coffee? 45 minutes, that's the other part, ladies. 45 minutes, your first date. It's a pre-date. Do not, waste hours getting ready for it and going to it and money. No. Go, meet, coffee, quick drink, walk in the park. Give them a little taste of your magic and then let them want more.
I love the Pinocchio part, because how many times have we heard, well, I'm not really sure they're really who they are. I'm not really sure about this. There's all the fears that are coming up in the constant banter back and forth in text. And so you're saying right away, jump in, see who they are, and then 45 minutes, no longer. I think that's absolutely terrific advice.
So imagine you're having this conversation, you and I, okay, great. Why don't we meet on Thursday for a coffee? But now it's Friday. I have a week to Google you and find out more about you.
Right.
All I've committed to is 45 minutes. And some of my clients who really want to get there, we set up their own speed dating. So we will actually set up a Saturday that they have it off. They get dressed once and they meet somebody at 1, 4, and 6, or 7. Like we scatter it and they go from one meeting to another, just like your own speed dating event.
Saturday, I like it.
And I will tell you, when I tried out all these series, I didn't just think of these things. I actually lived everything that I do that is successful. I've done personally, and I met probably around, let's just say a lot of men over 3 years, while I was single, in speed dating type situations. Every single one of them was exactly who I was supposed to meet because I had already talked to them. I didn't waste.
Cheryl, are you recommending to your clients that they do give their first and last name? Are you suggesting, because you're obviously going to be giving them phone number if it's FaceTime?
If it's FaceTime. Listen, so the beauty of Skype is you don't have to do that because you give your Skype name, and most people have a Skype. So that's what I like about Skype. Okay?
And if you don't, you can make a name that's not exactly your name.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I really like Skype. FaceTime, the thing is, a lot of people are meeting online and then they find themselves on Facebook anyway. You know, so you have to kind of judge that part for yourself. Do I think that you should be giving out, you know, all your information before you meet the person? No, I don't. I do think so. And by the way, there are companies out there, and they're phone companies that you can actually have a separate line for dating, and they're very inexpensive, and it screens everything for you. So these are all things that people can look into, you know, if you're really nervous about these things.
We will definitely.
And the other very important
put some of those links down below for sure.
Yeah, and the other very important part is, I mean, you have to trust your own instincts, you know, out there, but you also need your backup plan. So you should have a buddy. I had one. Every one of my clients has one, and I stand behind it. You have a buddy, you know, that knows who you're going out with, where you're meeting them, and when. You can't be too cautious in this world. Things happen, but
I like that safety tip. That's a good one too.
Yeah, so that's a little safety tip.
So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now. What really gets you excited? Besides that whole laundry list of things that I mentioned at the beginning.
Well, what's really exciting for me is I have actually focused more now. I'm not doing matchmaking at present,
so
and I really
like, what a bummer. Okay.
Yeah, no, I tend to I tend to love introducing people, and I don't want to not be able to introduce two people because they can't afford my fees. So I'm going to be able to do that when I think something will work, which I do now, and we'll leave that part to other matchmakers, and I'm affiliated with a lot of them, so I'll let them do the matchmaking on certain people, and then other ones I will do it because I think it's the right thing to do, and I want to see two hearts connect. I am really focusing now on retreats, mini retreats, the coaching aspect of what I do. I feel very fulfilled when I support others go through all the challenges of relationships, and it's not just for singles. I work with women who just want to revamp, relaunch, rejuvenate. My growth has happened a lot from the first retreat I ever went on, and I want to support others through that. So I will be continuing doing my weekend retreats. We're expanding into 1 week retreats, and it's really about personal growth so that all of this happens in your lives, and we all can manifest everything we want, and I'm certainly not any different than any other woman out there. So that's my concentration right now, and doing a lot more mini retreats where people can just come for a day in different cities and enjoy and learn and communicate and connect with each other, because we are our best supports.
You know what? I love that you're going into the retreats and doing more of these. I absolutely want to find out dates. So we will put that below. We'll put the link so that people can go to one of your mini retreats, longer retreats. Very cool. Now I know you.
It will be all on my calendar when they start again. I've had to put. I am launching my new radio show on Voice America, which starts in September, and right now we're just very focused on that because it's going to be bigger and better than the last one, and it's going to be on a digital platform, which I'm very excited about. Voice America has 44 million subscribers, and if you're not one, you should become one because there's a lot of good advice out there. And
are we going to be able to put a link below so that people can find it? And I'm hoping, because I know that people are going to watch and they become a part of that.
100%. And I can always be reached at CherylBesner.com. It's really simple. Or Dance of Love. That is very much where I'm going back to, is understanding how we communicate with each other, which is like a dance. One steps forward, the other one steps back, and then the conversation flows more in unison. So that's one of the things that I'm focusing on now.
And Cheryl, I know that you have something that you want to give the listeners, and so
Yeah.
what can you share with us about that?
So what I think I'd like to offer you ladies is a little bit of a step-by-step on how to really navigate the dating world and this new world that you're living in after being in a long-term relationship. And it is different.
You call it understanding the new playing field.
Yeah.
It's going to be a PDF. They can get it right below.
Right below.
Which is going to be so useful for so many people.
Yeah, it's just going to give you a lot of insight into things that you might not have thought about, and ways in which you can use the world that exists right around you to your advantage, and possibly learn a few other important facts.
Well, we will definitely have the link, so ladies, catch that one for sure. And I just wanted to say huge thank you to you. I love the spirited conversations that we have. So again, this has been amazing. The tips are amazing. We will be continuing to look towards your radio show, your book,
Please.
and so I just want to say again, thank you so much. And for all the listeners out there, make sure you come back tomorrow. Stay tuned. More expert advice. As we always say at ReLaunch, live now, love now. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.